Hey guys, so watch this video here for Monday, August 16th. Look at the SPY. I guess you could say Thursday looked like an actual candle. Friday again, another one of these little dashes or plus signs, just an extremely low volume. I've been saying it all month, extremely narrow range. I do have a couple highlights from Friday. I did call RKT over the high of day. I actually called the inside fives first, which kind of worked, but came back to the entry. Then I called it back over the high of day when it looked like this, which would have just been over 1857. I know a lot of people in chat got it because I got a whole bunch of thank yous. I got it myself. So from the 1858 area where I called it, it ended up going to 1955. It's also on watch again for Monday because a nice little mini breakout on decent volume. I think I also called MVST through 11, which would have been right here, but it chopped around for a little bit before it got going and ended up going up over 12. That one's also on watch. But anyway, there's a couple highlights from Friday. I'm going to go to the watch list video now, the whole watch list for Monday. All right, RKT, looking for a follow-through day there. Nice little breakout. Already talked about this one and this one. MVST had a nice bounce, and really it was pretty darn strong. If you go to 5-minute candles, that was a pretty nice move. And, you know, it sold off a little bit, but then kind of held up the rest of the day. So I think that's worth watching for, lack of a better way of putting it, a follow-through of the bounce that it had on Friday. DYAI had a nice pop on Friday, but ended up closing well off its highs. It's still making surprise moves on an intraday basis after that big pop on what would have been, let's see, Wednesday. So I don't know. Friday's high was 517. Maybe back through 5 with volume. We'll have to see how it trades, knowing that 517 break could be another catalyst and maybe run it up toward the recent highs from Wednesday. Who knows? But it's certainly worth watching. OPEN had the big breakout on Thursday, and then on Friday hit the same exact high, 1847 on Friday, 1847 on Thursday. So if it can break above that price, I think we might have a trade. So we're going to keep that one on watch. KXIN really is just flagging after the big pop, right? You could argue just kind of going sideways. Didn't give any kind of trigger on Friday, but I'm going to watch it again on Monday. Just a couple quick notes here. Friday's high 307 and Thursday's high 312. So they're stacked pretty close to each other. So that one's kind of interesting to me. FLGC is a crazy whippy trader, but a big breakout on, after it had this huge move, kind of chopped around for a little over a week and then ripped again. So we got to keep that one on watch, but you do want to be careful with it. It is a squinky trader. EVOK, big volume, closing well off its highs, but we'll see if it gives a follow-through setup on Monday. ORPH, hard to see because when you have a move like it did on, June 10th, when any stock goes from $5 to $77 in one day, which of course it shouldn't have, right? But it tends to scrunch all the following days back together after it comes back down. So I'll have to kind of scoot way over to show you what I'm looking at. So there's the 2-day pop, right? And still a nice move. Went from 415 on one day to the very next day to 714, right? Topping tail, yes, but now we got a couple days lower on declining volume. So after zooming in, I'm kind of comfortable putting this on bounce watch, looking for a turn back up on Monday. We'll see, right? Only with an A+ setup. ZEV, I need to pan back out now to get the proper perspective. So it had the big gap up. I don't like this that much because the big volume day, 150 million plus shares, right? And then a few days lower. Well, you could argue, look where it closed. Everybody from the last 4 sessions is pretty much underwater, every long. But at the same time, it gapped up for a reason, and now it's pulled back for a few days. So I am going to put it on bounce watch, but I did kind of give you the reason there why I don't love it. Groupon just goes back on bounce watch. It's like 4 days in a row I've been watching this for a bounce, maybe 3 days. No trigger in it, no trade on Friday, but it goes back on bounce watch. BYSI, another one that had the big gap up, and now several days down in a row back to the 18, kind of back down to where it found support on the first couple days after the gap. So that's a reason that I do like it, but I would also remind you that everyone, pretty much all of these people and these prices are underwater. Doesn't mean it can't give us a nice bounce on Monday, though. So remember, I'm a day trader, right? So I'm looking for ways to make intraday money between the bells. RXT, it's just, I don't know. I never do this, But I read the earnings report. I shouldn't say that. I read the earnings summary, and none of it sounded bad. It sounded really good year over year and all that. So anyway, the only reason I point that out is maybe, let me go to the weekly here. Yeah, so it's at all-time lows. The reason I bring that up is that maybe it's worth watching for an oversold bounce. All right, that's the gist of it. A few days ago it was in the 17s, and then it's got a couple ugly days after earnings. So anyway, we're going to watch it. It's probably down on guidance or something. I think that's what I read. But as a day trader, could give a nice snapback bounce. Same thing here. GOCO has fallen from 9 to 4 in 4 sessions. Certainly worth watching for a snapback bounce. And then lastly, SONO. Man, I hope I'm not messing up RXT with GOCO. I read the earnings report on both of those, and now I'm getting confused as to which one was which. So I might be wrong about RXT. Now I'm going to pause the video and check. Okay, so just at a quick glance, RXT adjusted profit beats, but the outlook disappoints. So in the earlier headline, earnings and revenues top estimates. So it's about the outlook. And then I also glanced at that GOCO, and let's go back to that chart. GOCO just decimated here. And if you look at the headline, second quarter revenue, 196 million, increased 55% compared to prior year. What was the date on this? August 11th. So that would be this day right here. Yeah, there's got to be something hidden that was really, really ugly. But I mean, if you look at all the headlines, the numbers look amazing. So again, I'm not an investor, I'm a trader. But when I see something like that, it sort of gives me a reason to say, hey, this is worth watching for a bounce, no matter what the negative was, right? Because it's fallen from basically 9 to 4 in 4 sessions, and the numbers don't look bad. Again, I don't base my trading on numbers, but I also would like, I look it up to make sure that GOCO isn't talking bankruptcy, right? So when I see good numbers like that, it just makes me like it a little bit more for a bounce play. That's probably the best way to put it. Anyway, lastly, SONO. I saw this chart and I said, you know what, had gapped up on earnings, sold off, and then a green day. So my thinking was, let's watch this for a potential long on Monday because it's holding up pretty well after the gap. But then I looked and I noticed in after hours on Friday, this went to 42.80. Which made me say, well, something's up there, right? So I looked at the headlines, and then the after hours headline on Friday, speaker pioneer Sonos fighting Google in golden age of audio, right? And then the U.S. trade judge finds Google infringed on 5 Sonos patents. And then another headline, Sonos wins first round of patent case against Google. So there's, a nice sounding headline, and it already did well on earnings anyway. So that's more than likely going to be a gapper on Monday morning. So we'll treat it as a gap play and see if we get a setup. And that's it. I'm done babbling. I'll see everybody in the chat room on Monday morning.